Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today I want to get into some tips when it comes to setting up a WeFunder campaign, how to run it effectively, how you set up a good page, and just some tips in general when it comes to equity crowdfunding. We're getting into all of that today. Okay, let's jump right into it. First of all, I wrote the book, Equity Crowdfunding Explained, which is available on Amazon, also Audible version, a really good place to start if you're not familiar with equity crowdfunding in general. It goes beyond WeFunder to many of the other platforms that are out there, and also advice and tips for entrepreneurs in the audience. It's almost like a no-brainer to me. So go and pick up a copy of Equity Crowdfunding Explained. That being said, let's dive right in. Okay, so when it comes to WeFunder, what is the name of the game? The name of the game is, number one, how do you assemble a really attractive looking page that's gonna convert people who have never met you before into becoming an investor of your company under regulation crowdfunding? Number two, how do you get people excited about what it is that you're doing when they've never met you before in person, right? So people that maybe you're doing Facebook ads to, or you're doing online organic marketing, or those kind of things. How do you build a funnel to get people in the door and wanting to be an investor in your company? So we're going to touch on a little bit of these things, as well as running an effective crowdfunding campaign when it comes to doing a WeFunder raise. So first of all, there's sort of the standardized process behind running a regulation crowdfunding campaign. So there's a lot of stuff that you got to get done. The most important is going to be filing your Form C with WeFunder after you do the actual application. Filing your Form C with the SEC. And this is what enables you, it kind of details a little bit of the specifics of your raise. But other stuff you're going to need to do, number one, would be developing, if you don't already have them, marketing assets, which you can use on things like landing pages, which you can use on the actual WeFunder page, which you can use on social media. If you don't have any kind of social media presence or website presence even, or you just haven't invested in marketing before, you're gonna wanna have marketing assets, which someone like me can work with you. So then you have things like high resolution photos, graphics, maybe even a really good presentation or slide deck if you've raised money before would be awesome. But these marketing assets are gonna kind of be the foundation of running a marketing campaign for your WeFunder crowdfunding campaign. The other thing that you're gonna wanna have is a crystal clear understanding of the big promise that you're making with your particular product, and also the big promise that you're making as the team who is running the company. And this kind of almost like, you think of this as a big promise, but in reality, it manifests itself as a story. So the big promise is your solution, right? What are you promising your end customer, your end user, when it comes to the problem that you're solving in their life? And you have the big promise, you have all the big benefits, right, that you're conveying when it comes to how you're helping people, the functionality that supports those benefits, that kind of stuff. You do have to go through that with the page, is giving those investors an idea of the problem that you're solving for other people and the unique way in which you're solving that problem. But what's even more important than that is the story behind how it is that your team specifically is so aligned to be able to tackle this problem, how you've been tackling it already, the massive trajectory and growth maybe that you already have, the way that you've been upticking in the market, the product market fit with the product, right? Those kinds of things. That story is equally as important. So you're not only trying to like almost convince investors that this is a killer product, great solution to the particular problem, and that it stands out from the competition, but you're also trying to convince investors of the actual team, the execution and operational know-how. I promise you, many other people out there had the idea for Google. Many other people out there had the idea for Apple and creating a computer. Many other people had the idea for things like Airbnb or Tesla, right? The thing that separates entrepreneurs is not ideas. I'm sure you've heard this before from other people out there. The thing that separates them is operational know-how, the ability to execute, right? Particularly at earlier stages. You get to a certain stage of a company where actually strategy matters a ton more, right? And you have tons of people working for you, but if you make the wrong strategic decisions, like your Google and you don't pay attention to Facebook, right? Or your Facebook and you don't pay attention to Instagram, then it could actually spell doom for your company. But in the early days, the most important thing is actually being able to execute on your strategy, because that is what you are lacking, is talented people who can execute on your plan. So it's all about telling the story of that. Why is your team the right people to be able to tackle this problem? And you do that with your actual campaign page. So behind the scenes, you're getting all this ready for the raise, right? You're getting everything ready for the filing, the Form C, the financials. if you're raising under $107,000 at the time I'm recording this video with regulation crowdfunding, you're going to be able to do that pretty simply without even having other people like look at your financials. You just have to have the CEO or an officer like sign off on that, right? It's really easy to do if you're raising under $107,000 per year. If you're getting to the bigger numbers, you might have to have an outside accountant like look at your financials, like that kind of stuff, right? But basically, you as the individual and the founder, you're having all of that happen behind the scenes. Another layer here, which is happening parallel, a parallel process. Say that 3 times fast. A parallel process is the actual marketing campaign for this equity crowdfunding campaign. Now, when it comes to the marketing campaign, you have things like designing landing pages, building out your social media, building up an email list, building up social media accounts so you have lots and lots of Facebook fans, lots and lots of followers, so that they are excited and ready to participate in your campaign once you go live. In marketing terms and in crowdfunding specifically, we call this a pre-launch. This is what is known as a pre-launch. You could also call it like a soft launch if you want, but it's a pre-launch. You are doing a pre-launch to get a tribe ready and excited to participate in this upcoming crowdfunding campaign. You're doing that, and you don't necessarily have to have your Form C filed before you do that. Now, after you file your Form C, you can actually start to advertise and broadcast the live crowdfunding campaign or the fact that you are raising money. But until you do that, you can't talk about it. But you can engage in general marketing business activities. If you get my drift, like wink, wink. You know, you can engage in general marketing business activities. And a general marketing business activity is building your social media, building up an email list, things that you would normally do as a company, right? You can't condition the market. Like you can't say, we're going to be raising money before you file the Form C, but you can do a pre-launch and you can do general marketing processes leading up to the launch of this WeFunder campaign. That being said, once you're then transitioning into the next phase, which is we are going live, we're excited, we're happening, right? You can also do things like surveys. You can survey your existing users, get a sense of what they're expecting, getting a sense maybe of where they're going to be investing. You can set up a Calendly account so you can do calls with high net worth individuals with your founders so they're more educated about the company. You could do webinars, you can have slide decks, like all that kind of stuff you can get together with your campaign once you're really getting ready to go live there. And once you go live, this is all about a race. It's a marathon. It's kind of like a multi-stage marathon in some ways. So as it relates to like the actual statistics, you're gonna have maybe your lead investor who's putting in a bit of money to the campaign. You're gonna have your existing investors who might be putting money into your campaign. You're gonna have friends and family, people who are part of the network of the founder, the actual individual who founded the company, who are putting money into the campaign. So that's kind of like I would say the early stage, trying to get this rocket to launch out of the atmosphere, right? And to get awareness from the general WeFunder community, and to get awareness from strangers that are out there. You're basically trying to jumpstart this. You're creating a launch pad. And the way we do that is friends, family, lead investor, existing investors, people that are following the career of the founder, that kind of stuff. We're drawing on that to get an initial critical mass in order to get strangers excited and interested in the campaign. Think about it this way. If you were an investor and you came across a WeFunder campaign and that campaign had no funds raised, would you even watch the video? Like, would you even read through it? It's probably not a legit investment if there aren't already other people who are participating in this. So this pre-launch is so freaking necessary for that reason. Is it develops a tremendous amount of credibility, and in marketing terms, we call that social proof. So after that phase, you then transition into the next one, which is you have a live campaign. Now your focus changes once you have a live campaign. Your focus is then going to change to doing things like running Facebook ads, to doing online marketing, to sharing stories, to celebrating raises, to engaging your email list, to looking at the reasons why people are deciding to investing, doing a bit of campaign management, replying to comments, that kind of stuff, maybe even upgrading your page. There are lots of things that go with that, but it's really, you start to shift into a massive outbound marketing strategy, and even doing things like courting reporters and journalists, getting on podcasts, having YouTubers talk about you, doing interviews. There's a media component as well that comes along with this. So you're shifting into a live campaign mode. And at a certain point in time, depending on the platform you go with, you can actually have a rolling close where you will withdraw the funds that have been raised up until that point in time. And that's going to vary obviously from platform to platform, but that's something that is enabled to do when you're doing an equity crowdfunding campaign under regulation crowdfunding. And some of the other stuff that might be on your radar when it comes to being live would be doing more webinars and calls, getting people to recruit who are already part of your investor community, getting them to recruit your friends and family. Facebook ads is a really big component as well. So there's a lot that you can do. And then finally, your final phase, which is you're getting towards the end of the campaign and increasing the urgency. It's almost like cranking up the urgency so that people, if they're on the fence, they have to make a decision now, yes or no, right? And you'll start to get a little bit more influx towards the end because it's the last time in which you can actually participate in this race. This is a very exciting process. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this. And it's one of those things where it really behooves you to educate yourself, not only about the fundamental process of doing an equity crowdfunding campaign, which I recommend my book, Equity Crowdfunding Explained, but also about the other layer, which is happening in parallel, which is the marketing process behind an equity crowdfunding raise, as well as what you plan to do afterwards when you got all this money and you have all this new investors in your actual company. What are you going to use that money for? And sort of planning the operational plan. So I agree with you. Raising money sucks, right? I'm here. I came out here and said it. Raising money sucks. Why? Because it takes time away. It takes time away from doing what you're good at, which is creating products and services, growing your company, setting up the right operations, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, as a startup company, you gotta actually focus on raising money, otherwise you're gonna go out of business. So there's really three processes. There's the actual foundation of the equity crowdfunding campaign from more of like a metrics-driven financial standpoint, filing your Form C, et cetera. There's a marketing component, and then there's the actual operations of the company, right? The company is delivering products and services to their end users typically. So there are three layers here that are happening concurrently, and that's usually one of the reasons why either a founder is going to bring on a coach like myself to help coach them through this entire process, or is going to hire an outside marketing company who can just take off one of these layers and also guide them through the process of doing this. If that sounds like you, number one, go and book a one-on-one coaching call with me down below, and you can discuss your specific product, your specific company, and how I can help you with your particular campaign, either from a coaching angle or to help you with more of the operational know-how and the execution phase, either recommending a marketing company that can do it or helping you directly when it comes to your WeFunder campaign. So there's a lot of opportunity here, but I hope that this video at least gave you an idea of like a bedrock knowledge with how to do one of these races. And some of the tips that I have for you when it comes to getting people engaged, the processes with the pre-launch, the storytelling, the different mediums that are out there, the different phases of this project. I hope that helps you with all that. Give me a thumbs up if you did like this video and you actually wished it was longer maybe, right? Come subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this. Go and check out the links down below for all of that know-how. I also have a great free course out there on equity crowdfunding, which I'll include as a link in the description. And finally, leave a comment down below if you liked it, just as a pat on the back from me, like you want me to put out more content like this. Leave a comment down below. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Thank you for joining me on this video, and I will see you next time.